The story of this film revolves around a boy named Aaron. One day, Aaron goes hiking, and the place is completely deserted. There's no one around for miles. While hiking, Aaron comes across two girls. These girls had actually lost their way. Aaron asks them, "Can I help you with anything?" As he says this, Aaron immediately goes over to the girls. He helps them by showing them the right path. Then, he joins them on a journey, guiding them along the way. After they cover a long distance, Aaron says to them, "I also know another way." Aaron says, "And I promise you'll have a blast on this journey." Now, they start walking through the mountains. As they try to navigate the narrow path, Aaron suddenly jumps off. Seeing this, the girls get scared, thinking Aaron has fallen. But Aaron immediately calls out to them from below. It turns out there was a lot of water down there, like a pool. Aaron then says, "Jump down." So, one by one, the girls jump into the water. And when the girls jump too, they have a lot of fun. Everyone is really happy there. After that, the three continue on their journey. After leaving that place, Aaron had to go further for trekking, while the two girls had to go home. So, before parting ways, they take a selfie together. Aaron asks them, "Will we get a chance to meet again?" One of the girls replies, "Our party is tomorrow night. You can come too." Then Aaron says goodbye to them and leaves. Aaron now continues through the mountainous area. He is very excited and thoroughly enjoying the trek. But the paths in these areas are very narrow and scary. As Aaron descends between two narrow cliffs, there's a large rock. When Aaron leans on the rock, it slips. Poor Aaron starts to fall, and the rock he leaned on rolls onto his right hand. Now, Aaron's hand is trapped under the rock between two narrow cliffs. As far as injuries go, he wasn't badly hurt, but his hand was stuck and wouldn't come free. He tried with all his might to free his hand, but it was no use. When Aaron realized his hand couldn't get out, he started shouting for help from the two girls. Unfortunately, his voice couldn't carry out of that place. Because it was a narrow mountainous area, it was impossible for his voice to echo or be heard by anyone, whether a human, an animal, or even a bird, far and wide. After that, Aaron opens his bag and takes out all his hiking gear. He has to get out of this place at any cost because he knows no one will come here for months. Among the items he pulls out is a knife. He tries to break the rock on one side using the knife, but the rock is so strong that it doesn't budge. Plus, his right hand is stuck, so it's difficult to work with just his left hand. Despite this, Aaron doesn't give up and keeps trying to break the rock. In the process, the knife slips from his hand and falls. He can't reach it with his hand because it's too far away, but he manages to pull the knife towards him somehow. He tries again to cut the rock, but it's no use. The rock is so strong that the knife's edge becomes completely dull. Meanwhile, night falls, and Aaron has now been trapped for several hours. He couldn't figure out how to get out of this situation, so he kept trying to free his hand. Morning came, and now Aaron had been trapped for 25 hours. He couldn't find a way to escape. Then he turned on his camera and started recording. He recorded, "I've been stuck here for the past 25 hours. No one knows I'm here because I didn't tell anyone before coming. And I'm running low on food and water. I have only about 400 or 500 milliliters of water left." As he was recording this, he heard a voice from above. Aaron started shouting for help, but it was useless because no one was there. A few hours later, night fell again, and Aaron became hungry. He ate what little food he had left. Then he remembered that the girls had invited him for dinner tonight, and there would probably be wine too. Aaron began imagining that party. There's one more thing. He begins to monologue. He recalls the day he left his house on Saturday for hiking. His mom had called him, but he didn't pick up and didn't tell her he was going hiking. If Aaron had told her, she might have come looking for him. Now, no one knows where Aaron is. On the third day, Monday, an idea strikes him. He ties the rock with ropes. The rock has fallen on his hand, and he tries to lift it from the opposite side using the rope. But the rock won't budge, no matter how hard he tries. Later, he attempts to move the rock by tying one end of the rope to his feet. But again, his efforts are in vain. The situation is getting worse as 3 days have passed, and his drinking water is now gone. With nothing else to do, he starts paying attention to the small things around him, like a bird flying in the sky. He can't even move from his spot, and dangerous insects keep coming around. If he wants to eat them, he has to wait for their return. Aaron gets only 15 minutes of sunlight in this mountainous area before it disappears. The hunger and craving for food have made Aaron desperate, so he decides to cut off his hand. He tightly binds his wrist and tries to cut through his hand with the knife he has. But since the knife's edge is completely dull, it can't even cut through the thin layer of his skin. Feeling disheartened, Aaron records a message on his camera: "Never buy cheap tools. They are useless." Another day passes this way. As night falls, Aaron starts reminiscing about his old days. He misses his family, close friends, and many others. Just as he's lost in these memories, the sky begins to darken. Suddenly, a heavy rainstorm begins. Since Aaron's water supply is exhausted, he starts filling his water bottle with rainwater. Even in the narrow mountain areas, water starts flowing. Where Aaron was trapped, the water level was rising. As a result, Aaron began to sink into the water. With the increased density of the water, objects started to float. So, Aaron also tried to lift the rock while submerged in the water. After much effort, he manages to lift the rock, freeing his hand immediately. Aaron then rushes out and heads toward his car. He gets into his car and drives away. But, unfortunately, friends, it was just a dream. Because it hadn't happened, he was still trapped in the mountainous area. Aaron starts shouting again, unable to believe that he has been stuck for so many days. And he's starting to lose his grip on reality. It's been 4 days since Aaron has been trapped, and today is his 5th day. His behavior and thinking have changed significantly. He starts talking to himself, providing commentary, laughing, and even says, "If I had answered Mom's call that day and told her I was coming here, maybe I wouldn't be stuck here now. And I didn't even tell the store where I bought my trekking gear. If they knew about this, they could have reported me missing. Then, someone might have come here looking for me." Aaron tells his parents, "I love you so much." In fact, Aaron records all of this because he has lost all hope of escaping. He's thirsty, hungry, and his physical strength is depleted. The heavy and immovable rock continues to keep him trapped here. Aaron again ties up his hand. Instead of trying to cut his hand with the knife, which has a completely dull edge, he starts hitting his hand with the knife's tip. He drives the knife so deep into his hand that it gets stuck in the bone, causing blood to flow from his wound. Despite this, Aaron takes no further action. Another day passes this way. By the 6th day, Aaron's condition worsens. He has become very weak. If he isn't rescued soon, he will die. Aaron also thinks that the rock has been waiting for him his entire life. The path of the mountain has been waiting for him since the day he was born. Perhaps this is his destiny. He writes, "Rest in peace," on the rock, along with his name and date of birth. He is convinced that he won't make it out alive. His resolve is completely gone. He is exhausted. The next day, when he regains a bit of consciousness, he tries to look around and then spots a small child in his line of sight. He envisions his future son and imagines playing with him, which makes him very emotional. This surge of emotion gives him new strength. He then begins pushing his trapped hand to the other side. In the process, the bone in his hand breaks. He sharpens the knife he has and starts slowly cutting through his hand. Thus, he manages to sever his hand from his body. On the 6th day, after cutting off his hand, he frees himself from the rock. Before leaving, he takes a photo of his severed hand. The hand, which is still trapped in the rock, remains behind. Aaron finally makes his way out of the mountainous area with great difficulty. Once he emerges, he finds some rainwater left at the site. He drinks a lot of water because he hasn't eaten or drunk anything for the past 6 days. Today, he quenches his thirst. Afterward, he moves on and sees the bird flying in the sky, the same bird he used to watch from the ravine. He starts to feel as free as that bird. But getting out of that area wasn't easy, as it was very open and desolate. However, Aaron doesn't lose hope. Despite the intense pain, he continues to push forward. Eventually, he sees a family who had come for hiking. Aaron calls out to them, and they rush over. They call for help, and a rescue team arrives with a helicopter. Aaron is then airlifted to the hospital. The scene transitions to some time later, where Aaron is shown fully recovered. Aaron's imagined images of his child come true. 3 years later, Aaron meets a woman, and they get married. Eventually, Aaron's child is born, resembling the very child Aaron had once imagined. Despite facing death during those 6 days, Aaron never loses his spirit. He continues to climb mountains and go hiking. Wherever he travels, he writes down the stories of his journeys and the places he has seen. Let's reveal the shocking truth. This story is based on real-life events. It is true that Aaron was trapped in those mountainous paths for 6 days. He endured his time there with great difficulty. He even wrote his birth date and presumed date of death on the rocks because he was certain he wouldn't survive. The rock that trapped Aaron's hand weighed 360 kilograms. Despite the lack of food and water, he never gave up. This was the only reason he survived for 5 days. On the 6th day, when he was certain he wouldn't make it, a supernatural force helped him. Seeing his future son gave him the strength he needed, and he finally managed to escape. Aaron also mentioned that if he had cut off his hand earlier, he would have bled excessively and never made it out. Despite the hand severing, Aaron demonstrated incredible courage and refused to give up. This scene concludes the film. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you also enjoy hiking, be sure to share your experiences in the comments. See you in another video with a new story. Thank you for watching.